headed back to Otter Creek for the town hall meeting. And if you remember, last town hall meeting didn't happen, nor did the one before that, nor did the one before that, or the one before that. New members are supposed to be elected and seated, finally. But not only that, I've got court issues with my stalking bad neighbors. The planet wants to know, now that Judge Craig DeThomas is officially being removed by the appellate courts, the higher courts in the Florida system and all state systems, they want to know, Jeremy, does that remove the injunction on you that he placed on you illegally? Oh, if it was LIEnette, she would say fraudulently. Okay, so Judge Craig DeThomas places a temporary injunction on me, emphasis on the key word temporary, which means there must be a date where it ends, which there isn't one. It's an indefinite temporary injunction, and not based on anything I've done. Nothing at all. What I've done has been completely and totally legal. I've exercised my First Amendment right, and frankly, everybody on the planet has the ability to exercise that right as well. But Judge Craig DeThomas, who is a proponent for his legal buddies who take their phones into tanning salons and film unexpected women, doesn't want me as a YouTuber filming LIEnette for some reason. Accountability doesn't, who knows at this point? So he's all for his legal buddy doing this illegally in a tanning salon, but he's saying it's illegal for me when I'm doing it legally with my own phone as a YouTuber on the largest media platform in the world. Makes no sense. And then when LIEnette says, hey, his lawyer tried to bribe me, then he slaps the temporary injunction on me. And this is the crazy part. Remember, it was Craig DeThomas, the dishonorable judge, who told my lawyer in the first place to try and work something out with LIEnette.
I would not discourage, and maybe would suggest that if we need to do so, and we do, that you engage in conversation with Ms. Preston and see if there's a resolution you guys could work out based on your advantage. Your disadvantage is you and your client got to come back. Your advantage is you might be able to open up some line of communication to get a resolution between the parties other than the court adjudicating it on its merits.
So the judge wants Mark Feather in 15 minutes or less to actually try and negotiate a solution. And so apparently he did make a phone call, but he never ever attempted to bribe LIEnette, nor would it even be a bribe. Now let's think about this rationally. Let's think about this seriously. Even if Mark Feather said to LIEnette, all right, what's it going to take? 5,000, 10,000? That's not a bribe. The judge himself told my lawyer to work out a solution outside of court. Okay, so a solution, number one, isn't a bribe. Now, I can tell you that my lawyer never ever offered her money. That's 100%. I can tell you that for sure. And now he's a witness in regards to what LIEnette lied to him about. There's no way he offered money. I've never given him any permission to offer money. You can't offer money that you don't have permission to offer. And therefore, it wouldn't even be a bribe. It would be what we'd call a settlement, even if there was an exchange of financial funds, which there never was, there never will be. As a matter of fact, it's LIEnette who hasn't even paid her own taxes on her property right now. But guess who's going to? He slaps the injunction on me because LIEnette says that she was bribed, which isn't even a bribe. Even if there was any truth to it, it's still not a drop. It's not a bribe, it's a settlement. There's no truth to it whatsoever. My lawyer did call her and say, what is it you want from all of this? That's it. That's all. And so now there's an injunction on me. So if the appellate courts are actually removing Judge Craig DeThomas, does that remove the temporary injunction on me? The injunction with no end in sight whatsoever? Well, there's a couple questions in regards to that, because others have asked, do you get your Second Amendment rights back? Can you drive on your actual road again now that the higher courts are going to remove him? So let's take this one step at a time. The appellate court, which is the higher court over his county court, is taking the proper steps and the legal route in removing Judge Craig DeThomasis from this case. It's more than evident to any normal person, to any rational person. Remember when Judge Craig DeThomasis called me irrational? Because he said I was irrational in thinking I wouldn't get a fair trial with him. He's shown so much bias, done so many inappropriate things, such as acting on behalf of LIEnette as her lawyer, putting me in a position of literally questioning me, drilling me over and over, as if he was her lawyer. Not okay. Not okay in any court whatsoever. So, does he truly have the authority to have this temporary injunction on me? Well, the authority was already there, and therefore the temporary injunction is there. The temporary injunction has not gone away. But with the appellate court saying we're going to remove DeThomasis, we're not even going to let him respond to his removal, does that make it go away? And the answer is, unfortunately, no. It's already in place. Now, is it inappropriate? Is it wrong? Absolutely. We all agree on that. We all agree it did not meet the standards of the law, first of all. I can't be held accountable for what somebody else says or does, just like LIEnette keeps saying about Crook. So, how about I get an injunction on LIEnette because of everything Crook has said and done about me? Oh, that's right. I tried. But Judge Craig DeThomasis denied my petition for it and Georgia's petition for it. But yet he's going to put a temporary on me. Since that temporary is already in place, it stays in place until it's going to be heard by another judge. So in regards to my Second Amendment rights, will I have those back? Do I have those back? And unfortunately, my rights have been completely and totally infringed upon. So I do not receive that right back. Now, I know there are those that are saying, but that's a judge in Florida, Jeremy. You're at Hale's headquarters in Ohio. Florida has no jurisdiction in Ohio. Stop right there. You're in the same mentality of the Levy County Sheriff's Office, who went on to say, and the state attorney, who went on to say, we will not enforce this. Ohio has no jurisdiction in Florida. Wrong! Federal law states that they all have jurisdiction in every single state when it comes to a civil protection order, it becomes to an injunction. They're all the same thing. They're all the exact same thing, a restraining order. Whatever state you're in, federal law mandates that you do have the legal authority to enforce it everywhere. It doesn't matter if the civil protection orders came from Ohio and I'm in Florida. Florida must, by law, enforce it. That's federal law. But not only that, by state law in Florida, Florida must enforce it. And they refused to. And they were dumb enough to even put it in writing that they wouldn't. Can we talk about legal liability for the state of Florida right now? Now, me going back to Ohio with a temporary injunction doesn't mean that Ohio all of a sudden is this magical state where injunctions go away. No, based on federal law, it can still and should be enforced in Ohio. And I know you're thinking, but it's wrong. You shouldn't even have this temporary injunction on you. I agree, but it has to go through the proper procedures to actually remove it. So right now, if I break anything in that temporary injunction, I could be arrested and I could be jailed. Now, I'm not going to put my life at risk like that. I will continue to respect this temporary injunction, even though I don't respect the judge who placed it on me inappropriately. At best, inappropriately. At worst, illegally, which will be for another judge to actually determine. So, Second Amendment rights, I have none whatsoever. And I know that's concerning for so many people. If there's one person in this entire story that needs to protect themselves with their Second Amendment rights, it's me. It is LIEnette who's going around flashing, stating that she's going to pop a cap in people's backsides. It's Crook who's already pointed it at me and wants to shove things in my backside. So, the reality that, is there a person that needs to be protected? It's me. I get it. I know you know. I know the planet knows. I need to have my Second Amendment rights. I need to be able to protect myself, those I love, those who work with me and for me. Even though I have no employees, they're all independent contractors. And I'm sure everybody understands. When I say employee, it's just a general term. They're not a legal employee. They are a independent contractor. It's just a term. It really means nothing. There are people saying, Jeremy, in some of your videos you say employee, in some you say independent contractor. Same thing. When it gets down to the court of law, it's going to be, does Jeremy pay this? Do you have benefits? No, they're all independent contractors. They're 1099s. They're all independent contractors. So regardless of whether I say employees or independent contractor, I need to be able to protect them as well from weirdos and creeps and freaks like LIEnette CROOK. And there are more. There's plenty more. You just know of these ones because we were patient with them for so long until we exposed them. There are others who have done such foolish, stupid things, but you never know the story about it because they were smart enough to actually stop. What do you think LIEnette should have done when she received the cease and desist? Yep, stop. What should a crook done when he received the cease and desist? Yep, should have stopped. What should anybody do when they receive a cease and desist? If there's a legal basis for it, you stop. And normal people do. Psychotic, mentally unhinged people like LIEnette CROOK, they ramped it up even more. And frankly, it should never even been to a point to send a cease and desist. They should have never even participated in this activity. The words, the actions, the things that they've done. Putting signs around the town, calling me the Ohio rapist. All right, we'll break it down later. All right, we got other things we got to break down right now. But that means I still illegally cannot drive on my own road where I have more road frontage than anybody else in Otter Creek on North Otter Creek Avenue. Now, I can clearly tell you that Judge Craig DeThomas has no legal basis whatsoever to keep me off of that road and all the access to my property on that road. Even though he put it in place, that doesn't mean it was legal. He has black robe syndrome. He thinks he's God. And frankly, within that courtroom, he is, until a higher court says, you're not. And that's what's happening right now. A higher court is telling him, you're not. And if you don't think he's sweating around the black robe collar right now, if you don't think he sees what's coming for him down the road, he knows. He is not in the clear. This is getting exposure, as it should. And there's going to be so much more to follow. So what happens if LIEnette CROOK show up at the next town hall meeting? Now, last month's town hall meeting, it was just automatically, it was done because Zim didn't show and Russ the Sus didn't show. So who did show was Don the Con and Carl. And so that was great that they showed. Don the Con will be reseated yet again, even though he's already seated. He has to be reseated because there has been no election. There's no need for one. 4 candidates, Don the Con, Laura Mott, or not for Mott. You've got Carl and Joe being seated at this month's election. And that election never happened because there's no opposing candidates. Not even Russ the Sus. That's not to say Russ the Sus isn't going to try something, even at this meeting. But we're pretty confident we know that LIEnette CROOK didn't show up at last month's meeting because Russ the Sus told them he wouldn't be there. Interesting. So, illegal conversations about the meetings with the exact residents. This is the funny thing. The exact residents that were doing everything they could, setting up signs illegally. They wanted to fire Mary. They wanted to get rid of Russ the Sus, Don the Con, Attorney Warm. And this is quite possibly the funniest part of it all. That now Marla Hughes, who I call Marla Huge, who created this fundraiser for LIEnette's fees, okay? For her legal fees. Remember, she's in 3 courts right now, and she's got a lot to say about that. But now what they are claiming is that I'm a terrorist, is what they're claiming, okay? So this is funny because all this does is lets my side know exactly what direction those fools are headed. In other words, they have no foundation to stand on. And what LIEnette continues to do is feed Marla Hughes or Marli Huge with information to post, which is third-party contact, which they will be held accountable for. And now we get this clue into the direction they're headed in court. They're going to fight under the aspect that it's stochastic terrorism, where a leader vilifies a person or a group in ways likely to instigate random supporters to attack those targets, while the instigator maintains a veneer of plausible deniability. Oh, that's right. The thing that LIEnette and CROOK did. They destroyed Russ the Sus, illegally hanging signs in the public information posting areas when they had no keys, and yet they broke in and put signs up, illegally putting a sign on a 501c3 which cannot be for or against any candidate whatsoever, illegally. They actually participated in this, whereby, right here, let's look at it again, the stochastic terrorism. I mean, the funniest thing is they show their cards constantly. And so if you don't think my legal team has all of this information yet, come on. You know my legal team has all this information. LIEnette leaks everything to Marla. Marla leaks everything to the rest of the internet. And we have screenshots of all of it. And I continue to say, how dumb can these people be? And they continue to prove they're dumber than I originally thought the last time I said it. And so we've got it. All right, so LIEnette and CROOK have participated in the very thing that they're now trying to say that I am guilty of in court. They have nothing else to hang their hat on. They have nothing at all to head any direction because I've done nothing illegal. What I've done is shown the truth and given my opinion on it. Pure and simple. It is that simple. So here's some truth and my opinion with it. Will LIEnette and CROOK show up at this meeting? Well, they already just received contempt of court charges from Ohio. That would have been for CROOK telling me to suck his quack in the road, for LIEnette going into the post office, and other things. Now, we're going to get to all of those charges. There'll be a full video about all of those charges and all that paperwork. But they have another court case coming in Ohio when they went to the town hall meeting 2 months ago for an hour and a half while George was there, breaking the 500-foot civil protection order. So now they're already have been found guilty once, and they got pretty much a slap on the wrist. We'll get to it. But now they've done it again. And it's not going to be much, much more aggressive than a slap on the wrist. So they've got court for that. If they show up this month, they're going to have another contempt of court hearing. And I guarantee you that's going to be jail time. They do it again, they're going to jail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to happen. So I don't think, I got to be so careful here. I don't think they're dumb enough. But every time I say that, they prove me wrong. Not only is LIEnette and CROOK creating more problems for myself, but also their other neighbors, particularly the Hudson sisters. Now, they want to state that 98% of the people in Otter Creek love them. They want them there. I've yet to meet even 1% that loves them. Now, that being said, I have not met everybody in Otter Creek. But I've also not met anybody who likes them or wants them there. And she just posted yesterday. We're going to peek at it right here. She just posted yesterday. I'm going to read it to you. She posted as she's standing in her trash. Otter Creek, standing in my trash. So when we first bought our land, we had a survey done with a great company, McMillan Surveying. Keep that in mind, okay? Because remember, LIEnette does everything I do. She literally mirrors and mimics every move of mine. So make sure you keep that in mind. And she goes on to say, but the neighbors kept ripping the stakes out. And unfortunately, we lost a bunch at one end. Well, let's pause right there. You can't lose land that was never yours in the first place. So this is complete and total foolishness and stupidity. We lost a bunch at one end. You never owned it. You can't have a survey and then go, oh, that land isn't ours. You don't lose something that you never ever had. If I don't own an iPhone, guess what? I can't lose owning an iPhone. I never owned one. I can't lose it. If I never had $1 million, I can't lose that $1 million because I never had $1 million. I think you know where I'm going here. And just keep in mind, I am not discussing or communicating with or to LIEnette or Crook, and nor should anybody at any point in time. It's not appropriate. I'm just sharing the news. WTH. What the hell's news? We bring it, and we bring it hot. It's on fire. And so she goes on to say, we lost a bunch at one end and we gained a bit at the other. Well, you can't gain or lose. You own what you own. That's it. It is this property line to this property line to this property line to this property line. You own what you own. And for them, it's 1.66 acres, which they're not even paying their taxes on right now. So I'm not so sure they're going to own it very long once it goes into tax lien. And even then, federal government's going to come in and seize it anyway. But we'll get to that later in this story. We lost a bunch at one end, we gained a bit at the other, but it's legit. Apparently, LIEnette's too legit to quit. Should have stopped before she ever started. And she goes on to say a fence is going up, so please leave the markers alone. Okay, first of all, who's stupid enough to post this on a Facebook group page that, number one, she's blocked most people from, and number two, she's communicating this to particular residents in Otter Creek. Now remember, she told the judge she doesn't use this to communicate to anyone about anything. She uses this for Bible verses and for daily inspiration. And yet, here she is publicly posting yet again, like she's done so many times before, to one individual who will probably never see it or care about it in the first place. Now, I know who the individuals are, and I've mentioned it already, and I've already sent them screenshots of it, and my lawyers have it as well, and. Yes, I've got it all. They've got it all. We know who it's addressed to, okay? But here's the ridiculous part of this all. LIEnette goes on to talk about hiring McMillan Surveying. Now, everybody knows when I bought my property in Otter Creek, I hired, right there in the circle, McMillan Surveying. So not only did LIEnette follow me and stalk me and harass me in Otter Creek, not only did she follow in my exact footsteps to stay at Shady Oaks Campground in Otter Creek, not only she went and then hired the same survey company that I did in Otter Creek. This is the woman who clearly states in court, under oath, that she's maybe watched 3, maybe 4 videos, and yet she knows my every move and everywhere I've been and everybody I've hired. This is the same woman in her court documents actually proves she stalked me, actually proves she's been watching all my videos, as she states. Remember, this is part of the almost 400 pages that she gave to Judge DeThomas's. She says, when I found out that the only thought I had, when I found out about it, and what she's talking about, let me back up a little bit. She goes on to say, I grabbed my sister for the second time. I came to Otter Creek. We looked at the property, decided to purchase it. That's when I noticed Mr. Hales had also bought in Otter Creek. So first of all, that's a lie, okay? She didn't just notice Mr. Hales bought property in Otter Creek. She'd been watching the entire time. And not only do we have proof of that in text and in conversations with Brett Granger, with Therese Granger, as they were the ones that hauled them from Northport to Otter Creek, but she goes on to say this. She contradicts her own comments. When I found out about it, the only thought I had was, that's pretty cool. I had just watched a video. Oh my goodness, did you hear that? I had just watched a video where he was saying what he wanted to do with the property, and I thought that's pretty neat. And what she's referring to is the video where I explore up front where there were 3 homes. 3 homes, 3 septic tanks, 3 utilities, 3 everything, and I say I'm gonna put bed and breakfasts in, B&Bs, and I'm gonna furnish everything with my storage unit finds. She already knew about the access, about the homes, about what my plan was. She watched all of it, and this is what she has to say after she saw it. She goes to say, I thought, well, that's pretty neat. Property values are gonna go up. So buying that little piece of property for $23,000 is a steal. Now, that piece of property she bought, 1.66 acres for $23,000, is nowhere near worth that. $3,000 an acre is the high end at this point in time. I would have never even given $5,000 for that dump. She paid $23,000, thinking that me being there was going to drive the price of all property in Otter Creek up. So she overpaid like a fool, like an ignorant fool, to be close to me, to stalk me, to try and make money off of me, to beg me for money. And it goes on. So I did a good thing by buying it. Did a good thing. So she wanted to use me, my business plans, all followers, fans, to try and get their money as well. A pure 100% scam and con artist. Coming to Otter Creek for more money? She should have known from the town hall meetings. They don't have any money. And we're going to find that out even further in this month's town hall meeting. As a matter of fact, as you're watching this, I'm probably already in Otter Creek. I probably landed very early in the morning and can't wait for the town hall meeting, because the very first thing on the agenda is swearing in all new council members. And this is going to be exciting. Real change in Otter Creek. This is foundational for real change in Otter Creek. Carl will be on the council, and Joe will be on the council, and Don the Con will be on the council for comic relief, if nothing else, and Not for Mott will be on the council. And I'm praying and I'm hoping this individual proves me so wrong that I have to beg for forgiveness, beg, both privately apologize, publicly apologize. But I've seen nothing. Nothing. What I have seen is in the Chiefland Citizen, she told individuals that even if they wanted to send smoke signals, even if they just needed somebody to talk to, she would be there. They could ask her anything. And yet when Brett Granger went to her own page to ask her, what have you done for Otter Creek? Which every single individual in Levy County should have asked her as she was running for county commissioner. What have you done for Otter Creek? We want to know what you did for Otter Creek. What is your history? What are your successes? What are your failures? So what are you, that translates right into the county. She blocked him. He set up smoke signals and she blocked him. And I have a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen in the council meeting as well. She's going to try and block good things for Otter Creek. So all the members are going to be sworn in, which is going to be fantastic. And in my gut, I think Vice Mayor Zim will become the new mayor, which they will have to vote on that. Now, I can't guarantee it. I don't know how it's going to go, but I feel like it's going to be Zim, Carl, and Joe on one side, Don and Laura on the other side. And so they need a majority vote, and they will decide who is going to be the mayor. Now, any of the five can be the mayor. They just have to agree and have a majority vote. So then the mayor, once that is figured out, so everybody's going to be seated, they have to figure out who the mayor is. Then the mayor is going to do a call to order for the meeting. Now, will Russ the Suss show up and try and be one of the citizens who's so concerned about Otter Creek? I mean, that's like the biggest question. Russ the Suss is gone. There's nothing he can do, nothing he can pull. Now, he can try and disrupt like he always does. He can try all these little plans behind the doors, vaccines, like he always does. But he's not on the council. And the question is, does he care enough about Otter Creek to actually show up to the meeting? Laura Mott never showed up when she wasn't on the town council. Stuart Stewart doesn't show up when he's not on town council. Captain Dan doesn't show up when he's not on town council. How interesting is it that these individuals who have run and have served on town council never show up unless they're getting $100? I don't want somebody who's there for $100. I want somebody who actually cares about the people. That's what I want. Wants to bring in business, wants to bring in families. And I'm not talking bring in Walmart. I'm talking about a gas station. I'm talking about a dollar store. I'm talking about something that's actually going to help pay taxes, and grow Otter Creek in a positive direction. Something good for the people. And that's one of the things they'll be talking about in this meeting. So approval agenda and the monthly meeting come after that. So the agenda is what I'm actually reading to you right now. I have a picture of it. Obviously, I'm not in Otter Creek, but I do get pictures of things from Otter Creek. And it says board selecting. Oh, wait, I'm so out of the loop. You know, it's funny that there are people that actually say that I'm in charge of all of Otter Creek and I'm in charge of everything and everybody does what I say. And I even told you wrong. I told you they were going to swear in the council and then the new mayor was going to be elected, and I said it wrong. It's board selecting new mayor and vice mayor for the new term 1 year. And it's after approval of the monthly meeting minutes and agenda. So I don't even know what's really going on. I'm reading it to you as it was sent to me. And so there you go. Those who say I run everybody and everything in Otter Creek, debunked yet again. Okay, so then they're going to select the new mayor and the vice mayor. And then it's going to get down to the approval of the minutes from the February 20th, 2024 and the April 16th, 2024 meetings, which never even really happened. Okay, so it really is going to be, meeting, no, there was no meeting, and therefore it just moves forward. In other words, they attempted to have a meeting, there was no meeting, all right, let's move forward, but it all has to be approved to be legal in all of the documents, okay? And it says, if approved, as submitted, mayor will sign one copy for the public record. And that's really important because they weren't doing this before. So institutions such as banks, they will not accept your meeting minutes that say, hey, I approved Jeremy Hales to sign checks. And they'll go, okay, show us the meeting minutes where it was approved. And then they'll go, okay, well, I see a document, but anybody could type this up. I need signatures on it. Without signatures, business can't move forward. And then it has new business. So here's the new business that they're going to be discussing in Otter Creek. This is moving forward, not backward. So, well, I just talked about this. Selecting new signers for the Capital City bank accounts and the accounts at Seacoast Bank. Okay, so I just talked about that, literally. So once the old administration is out, new administration is in, somebody's got to be able to sign these checks. And so they've got to figure out who's going to be able to sign the checks, get the documentation in place, take it to the bank, and then be able to get their names on the checks so business can run as usual. Now, you're probably thinking, but they haven't had a meeting in months. Yep, and business ran as usual. All the bills got paid. They were all normal, everyday, recurring bills. The board had already determined that those bills could be paid without needing approval because they're reoccurring. Any special new bill, for example, I got to pay an electric bill here at Hales headquarters every month, okay? Electric here is $1,000 a month. Give or take, it's $1,000 a month for electric at Hales headquarters. And in Otter Creek, it's $1,000 a month to run electric in the Otter Creek buildings. But in Otter Creek, all of a sudden, I got a bill, $155,000 so far for legal fees. That's not reoccurring. It better not be reoccurring. So help me God if anybody else stalks me to Otter Creek. So you understand if it's not reoccurring, like $155,000 legal fee, because of freaks actually stalking you to a town that you don't even want to fly back to during the summer, but you need to because of accountability and keeping those in check that are doing illegal things, then it needs to be approved. But I don't think the board's going to have anything to approve. Maybe, let's see, approving the extra funds from the board. I'm wrong again. Okay. Oh my goodness, I've been wrong this entire thing. Approving the extra funds from the board grant from a community center, which would be resolution 2024-01. So they are going to vote on the community center. Now, again, for all those that think that I actually run Otter Creek and I run what people think and what people do, and I'm in charge of it all, I'm completely and totally against this center, the community center, because I don't believe Otter Creek can generate the funds to actually pay for the reoccurring expenses after the grant money is spent. In other words, you build it. In other words, let's say Hales headquarters is $1 million home, right? You go, hey, I just got $1 million. I'm going to buy Hales headquarters. And you go, great. I spent all my money on Hales headquarters. Great. Now it takes $10,000 a month to own the home. You got property taxes, utilities, you've got upkeep, maintenance, the whole deal. Okay, so where's this $10,000 come from? I don't know where am I going to get $10,000. By the way, I'm using $1 million as just an example. It's a number I pulled out of my head. And I'm using $10,000 as an example. It's a number I pulled out of my head. This isn't real math. Well, if it's Mary, it's real math, but for her, not for the rest of the world. And so you spend the $1 million, you got a facility now, but now you have to upkeep it. I mean, you got to pay for water, electric, you got to pay for everything. Where's that money come from? Now, me personally, I don't think Otter Creek has enough tax base or people or money to do any of those things. And so I'm against it because they can't afford it. But obviously, it's on the agenda, and they're going to try and move forward with it. So what does that tell you about whether I run things in Otter Creek or not? I'm literally have been very outspoken that I'm against it from a business point of view, that it is not going to generate new business. And I think it's extremely funny when viewers will say, well, you can rent it out for weddings. Nobody's coming to Otter Creek for weddings. They come to Otter Creek to get methed up. Nobody's coming for a family reunion in this community center. They're coming to video Tube Town, baby. That's what they're coming for. And so, no, I don't believe it can generate any income. Otter Creek is not a destination unless it's somebody there to see what the hails. In my opinion. Allegedly, in my opinion. Because people don't stop in Otter Creek for anything else, and nor are they going to have events at a community center or anything else along those lines. Again, proving I don't run things and nobody works for me. All right, let's keep going on. Adopting a statewide mutual aid agreement with emergency management, reviewing and approving upgraded on the water meter and accounting software program so we can offer online payments. Oh my goodness, this is going to be incredible. Online payments are going to be here soon for water. It's even better that I'm not being overcharged illegally anymore. And so now they're going to upgrade their software so they can do online payments. This is going to be amazing. So we can offer online payments, increasing insurance payment for the new value of our assets to meet the current market value before hurricane season hits. And we're in it, right in the beginning of it. And then at Old Business, it says right down there, it says none at this time. Of course, not a lot of business has been going on when you have 3 months of no meetings whatsoever. It's all been shut down. And then it goes on to department reports, administrative, maintenance, and water. So administrative, I'm going to guess that's going to be Belinda. Love her and Doug. They're just incredible community members with such loving hearts. Maintenance, that would be Richard. And then water is probably going to be Zim as well. And then announcements, children's food table. And that's giving food out to those in need. Wakasasa, I just love saying that. I feel like Fozzie Bear on the Muppets when I say Wakasasa, because he would go, waka, waka, waka. No, I feel like Pac-Man now. That sounded like Pac-Man. I just love saying the word Wakasasa. And I know it's Seminole Indian, Wakasasa. Water management and cooperative meeting. And this is about the new water line, clean water, coming from Bronson, through Otter Creek, through Rosewood, through all these other places, all the way to Cedar Key. And then it goes on to say public comments. Members of the public have 3 minutes to comment on items, issues discussed at this meeting. The public is encouraged to visit Town Hall during scheduled business hours to leave a comment in the drop box at Town Hall at any time to be reviewed, assessed, and added to the agenda if necessary, and then it will be adjourned. And here's what I want to know. What's your question you want me to ask during public comment time?